Hi everybody, this is Ralph Reyes for Club Solutions Institute. Quick review from last week. I highlighted Alan Leach's course on membership management secrets. And if you recall, we broke down what it would mean to your company if you could get 10% better at converting leads and 10% better at your closing, and what that financial impact would be. And that was the theme that we had from last week. And hopefully you did that exercise and you could see what that number actually is. If not, go back to last week's newsletter because it's all written out there and you can follow that because it's definitely worth doing. So this week I'm going to stay with the theme of membership sales, and I'm highlighting Bill McBride's course on Membership Director Masterclass Training. And it's a great course that has so much information, but I picked out just a couple pieces because I wanted to continue with the theme of what Alan was talking about. Because Bill also talks about the only way you're going to have a successful sales department is if you have a clear system that everybody knows exactly what they're supposed to do at all stages of the membership process. And I really think it's very important for us as we're learning together in the Institute is to see where we've got two awesome sales leaders who have been very successful in their careers. And they're saying a lot of the same things and what we can take from that. And that feels like a really strong formula for being able to be successful. So that's what we're going to focus on today is Bill's take on that same idea of creating a consistent sales process in your membership department. Part of what Bill talks about is that in some clubs, performance is dependent on individuals. You happen to get a great salesperson, they succeed and they're doing great. If you maybe happen to make not such a great hire, they struggle, maybe they bring the department down. But in all those situations, it is really dependent on the individuals, not on the system. You may have a manager that is great at inspiring people. They leave, maybe the next person that comes in is not so great, and all of a sudden you can see that membership sales are suffering. So very important to be able to have a system that's bigger than individuals, because Bill teaches us something that's very different when it comes to sales approach, is that sales success is about having a strong system. And then we've got strong systems, that becomes your standards that are now in action and at play. So when expectations are clear, when behaviors are defined, and when training is consistent, sales stops being dependent on individuals and is really dependent on the system and is much more predictable and is really what we're looking for all of us with our businesses, that we could have a predictable outcome on our sales efforts month after month. All right, so here are the main 3 points that Bill talks about. And again, there are so many great points in this course that I just plucked out 3. But please, I really encourage you to go through and take a look at the video because it is a really comprehensive training program. But one is clarity of process. And there's got to be a defined approach to how you are doing your sales, clearly defined steps, and defined expectations for the team. And Bill calls it enrollment conversion. And that is really the idea that if you have done all the right steps with the prospect, then really what you're doing is you're just converting them to a member. At the end of the process, you're not actually selling them. So when everyone runs the same system, coaching becomes easier, accountability becomes fair, and results become highly repeatable. All right, number 2 is coaching over managing. And this is a really important aspect because sales managers don't just track numbers, they coach behaviors. And we've talked about this before, that the numbers are really just the culmination of the behaviors that happened upstream. And when we can coach the appropriate behaviors, then the numbers will follow. And that's a really important concept to bear in mind. So sales numbers, whether they're good or bad, are merely the result of the cumulative behaviors that came before. That means, are you being super disciplined about doing role plays with the team? And is the team role playing with each other? Are you giving real-time feedback when someone comes back from maybe a sales presentation where they didn't close? Are you breaking it down with him or her to see maybe where we could have done differently and see where the stumbling block, or what was the objection that we couldn't get past, and maybe some role play around that objection? Being able to do daily reinforcement to keep the team up and keep the team built so they're feeling positive and they're feeling energized and they're feeling like they can make their goals is a really important part of it. And then continuous skill building, and that is continuous training that we talk about, and Alan talked about last week, is that the only way you can keep people sharp and you can see their progress over time is to continually help them build their skills. Number 3 is sales is leadership. And one of the things that Bill talks about that I firmly believe is that sales is service. And when we firmly believe the product that we have is a great value and will absolutely help the person with the problem they came in to solve, i.e. getting fit and getting healthier and being around like-minded people, then we're not selling them anything. We're actually providing a service for them to be able to solve their problem. And Bill does a great job of explaining that. So it's the opportunity to positively impact a greater number of people is what we're teaching our salespeople, not just that we're closing sales. And that gives them a different level of purpose that they can feel good about and rally around. I love offering you an exercise to be able to put this information into actual action. So here's the questions I'd like for you to talk about with your membership director, your membership team, and see how you do. And this isn't a criticism maybe of where you're at. It's an opportunity to identify maybe where we can get better. And going back to what Alan said about if we can just get 10% better in some of our key KPIs, then we're just going to be all the better for it. So first question is, do you have a system where every rep can articulate what the sales process is in every step of the way? So that's one. Number 2, are you role-playing weekly with your team? Do you have some sort of exercise where you're working with your team and you're actually coaching up skills, working on objections, working on price presentation, those types of things? So that's 2. Number 3, do you coach for behaviors or are you coaching on numbers? If you're coaching on numbers, it's very reactive and a lot of times it's already too late. But are we thinking about, like, what are those behaviors that I can make sure are being done appropriately so the numbers will follow? And then number 4, if I hired a salesperson tomorrow, do I have a very clean onboarding process for that person to get them from new hire to productive salesperson in the office? So that's probably 180 days at least to get them to where they're productive. But so beyond sort of the onboarding and the name tag and, do they have a desk and a manual? Do you have a clean process for making sure that that person is going to be successful after 90 days, 120 days? So that's your exercise for this week. All right, so as we close out February, thanks for participating in this and thanks for being a part of the Club Solutions Institute. I look forward to being able to help you in any way you need. So feel free to email me if you've got questions or if there's anything I can help you with. And have a great rest of the week. Thanks. Bye.